and juicy peaches or nectarines, just $2.99 per pound. Save $4 on fresh USDA bone-in ribeye steaks, $15.99 per pound. Schmidt Old Time Honey Wheat Sliced Bread, $4.49 for a 20-ounce loaf. Wishbone salad dressings, only $3.25 for select varieties of 15-ounce bottles. Select varieties of 128-ounce bottles. Arizona iced tea, just $5.99. Have a happy and safe Heroes Day holiday from the marketplace.
You can count on us.
You're watching Bermuda Broadcasting News. It's Wednesday, the 13th of June. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks so much for joining us tonight. The government has issued a stark warning about a sharp rise in the number of sexually transmitted diseases, especially gonorrhea. Health officials say from April to the beginning of June, 37 cases of the disease have been reported. That's compared to an average of 11 cases in the same period in the last 5 years. And a majority of those affected are female. They make up around 65% of the gonorrhea cases. The detection of more people suffering from the infection may be at least partially due to new guidelines put in place by the Communicable Disease Control Clinic. Since November, it has required the screening of females under 25 years old attending the clinic. Untreated gonorrhea can cause serious and permanent health problems in both men and women. The ministry is also warning that a number of other sexually transmitted infections, including chlamydia, herpes, and syphilis, are also on the rise. Anyone worried about whether they have contracted any of these diseases should visit their doctor or the Communicable Disease Control Clinic on Victoria Street in Hamilton. And cancer, perhaps the most feared disease of them all. But new research is offering new hope for sufferers from breast and ovarian cancers. It uses the body's own immune system against cancer cells. It's one of the most promising developments being discussed at a major meeting of specialist doctors here in Bermuda in Pink and Teal Conference at the Fairmount Southampton, with local doctors also free to take part. It could be a major breakthrough. Dr. Sudhir Gupta, an immunologist at UC Irvine School of Medicine, is upbeat about a new method of using the body's own immune system to fight cancer.
We can make the immune system very specific to each of the tumor type. Therefore, it will kill only that tumor without having any side effects of the chemotherapy. So you're not going to lose your hair, you're not going to have suppression of your bone marrow, and therefore these are major development with respect to how we can direct the immune system to kill effectively and cure the cancers.
And there's some evidence the treatment is already at a stage where it can help breast cancer sufferers. The scientific journal Nature Medicine has reported on one case of a woman with an aggressive form of breast cancer who was cured with an experimental treatment triggering her immune system. Her cancer did not respond to chemotherapy initially, but she's now been free of the disease for 2 years. The process involves taking immune cells known as lymphocytes from the tumor in the woman's body and then scanning them for specific types which reacted to mutant cancerous cells. The cells are re-injected into the body and were successful in fighting off the disease. So when can we expect to see these kind of cancer treatments being widely used?
Some of the treatments are already approved, which we call as checkpoint blocking, where we can enhance or improve the immune system to kill it. So some of those have been FDA approved. The one which are very specific that recognize each kind of tumor, they are still in early stages.
Ovarian cancer is another devastating disease affecting women. Around 80% of patients are only diagnosed in the late stages, making early detection and prevention difficult. The best defense, according to Dr. John Lavecchio, is finding out your gene history.
We clearly have identified populations with the BRCA gene that have a higher risk of developing ovarian cancer. Okay, and we actually ramp up our treatments and surveillance in that particular group. And there are methods, chemotherapeutic and targeted therapies, identified to select out those patients who possess the BRCA gene, in which we effectively increase their chances of survival.
Doctors and researchers at the conference say researchers are making strides in finding the Holy Grail, a cure for cancer itself. But in the meantime, treatments for individual cancers are being more targeted.
We're honing in on targeted therapies, trying to understand that it's just a collective noun, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and that there are so many different subsets to these diseases, and that each one of them may have their own specific targeted therapies.
The medical conference at the Fairmount Southampton starts tomorrow morning. All KEMH staff are welcome, free of charge. We'll have more for you after this short break, including allegations of millions of untendered America's Cup contracts. Plus, the overseas territories get set to clash with the British government. And we'll also be bringing you all the latest weather news. Stay with us.
The Marketplace Food Court is you and your family's one-stop shop. Start your day at the breakfast bar with omelets made to order and traditional Bermuda codfish breakfast. The chefs will cook lunch and dinner to your liking. Along with the salad bar, sandwich bar, sushi bar, and fruit bar, the Marketplace Food Court is your kitchen away from home. Every day is hassle-free with nutritious meals from the Marketplace Food Court. Visit us 7 days a week. Homemade cooking, quality service, all at prices you can count on.
I attended the Mirror Super Camp. It was an awesome experience. I got to meet a lot of new people.
And then we also learned about the 8 keys of excellence. Keys open doors, keys open doors.
Super Camp is not like other camps. There's a strong focus here about looking at the options and the choices you have available to you and choosing the one that best reflects who you are.
I learned a lot about the way that I have to keep pushing and persevere no matter what's going on.
The best thing about Super Camp? It allows you the space to truly be yourself.
Anytime somebody finally came into their own presence and felt comfortable being who they were, that was a special moment for me at Super Camp.
Super Camp is about exploring who you are and transforming yourself.
It only gets better!
We invite you to join the transformation of a generation.
Welcome back. Claims are swirling around social media about an untendered $1 million contract being awarded in the build-up to the America's Cup, and they come from the former chairman of the West End Development Corporation, Ray Charlton. As Gary Moreno tells us, it all stems from a Facebook spat between Mr. Charlton and a government minister.
It all began with a post from Diallo Robin, the Minister of Education, who took umbrage at a report in the local daily highlighting a recent court matter involving government backbencher Michael Scott. Mr. Scott, according to the article, failed to make good on a mortgage agreement with a local bank and was forced to forfeit the property concerned after being successfully sued by that bank. Mr. Robin posted, quote, RG felt necessary to make the unfortunate saga with my colleague MP Scott a front-page story, unquote. He questioned why the paper, which has in the past developed stories from Facebook posts, somehow missed this one by the former WEDCO chairman. Mr. Charlton expressed frustration with not being recognized for a Queen's Award, while a member of the ACBDA, whom he accuses of getting a $1 million contract which was not put out to tender, did. We reached out to Mr. Charlton about his claim, but he is yet to respond. Contacted about the statements made by the former WEDCO chair, a one-time senior member of the One Bermuda Alliance, which at the time was in government, dismissed the allegations as misguided and misleading. Our source countered that the contract in question was not issued by the then government, but rather by the ACBDA. The contract, which was related to the construction of Cross Island, was purportedly not put out to tender due to tight timelines in the build-up to the America's Cup. Former Premier Michael Dunkley chimed in on the Facebook discussion and stated the situation was addressed by former MP Dr. Grant Gibbons during his time as Minister of Economic Development. Meanwhile, our source told us Mr. Charlton was advised that Mr. Dunkley, who was named in the Facebook post, had nothing to do with the recommendations for any Queen's Awards for those connected with the America's Cup. Our source continued that while Mr. Charlton's efforts with WEDCO were recognized, he should not expect to be publicly commended for doing what was essentially his job. Further, it was suggested that if Mr. Charlton so badly wants a Queen's Award, he should perhaps get a friend to nominate him. Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
The British Virgin Islands, Bermuda's sister territory, today moved a step closer to suing the UK government over plans for a law forcing a public company's register upon the overseas territories. Most of them, including Bermuda, have said such public registers would undermine their financial sectors. It comes as senior politicians from the territories, including Deputy Premier Walter Rabban, are in London to discuss various issues. Tarai Trott has our story.
This was the scene in the British Virgin Islands days after the UK Parliament passed the Sanctions and Anti-Money Laundering Act that forces territories to publicise the owners of local companies. Some in the crowd held placards calling for an end to colonialism. BVI Premier Orlando Smith called the UK Parliament decision deeply flawed.
We believe that in the absence of a global standard and a level playing field, the imposition of public registers of beneficial ownership on the Virgin Islands could have negative economic consequences.
The UK Guardian newspaper reports the BVI has retained a legal team to prepare a case for the British courts. One of the grounds of the action is that the UK Parliament overreached by imposing the legislation. Meanwhile, officials from the Cayman Islands are said to be in London to discuss a revision of its constitution to prevent further UK interference. Representing Bermuda in London is Walter Rabban, the Deputy Premier, alongside Kimberly Durant, the Bermuda Government London Office Director. According to a government statement, Mr. Rabban arrived at Gatwick Wednesday morning and went immediately to Westminster for a pre-joint ministerial council meeting chaired by the Falkland Islands and hosted by the UK Overseas Territories Association. He and Mr. Durant were then scheduled to meet in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office with Lord Ahmad of Wimbledon, the Minister for the Overseas Territories. While overseas territory leaders are using the occasion to focus on issues of their interest to their territories, the official focus of the JMC is on the issues relating to the overseas territories and the UK's impending exit from the European Union. The Deputy Premier returns to the island Friday. Tarai Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Weather now, and after a bright sunny day, can we expect more of the same over the rest of the week? Here's our latest forecast from AccuWeather.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
Right off the top, we want to say hello to our friends at the BF&M Insurance Group as they bring this all together here, and we're dealing with some spotty showers to the south. Most of us will enjoy a quiet night in the Bermuda area here in and around the island. You can see this boundary kind of washes out to the south. That was a front, but we're going to kind of reverse the trend tomorrow as we'll begin to turn a little warmer, and sometimes in the atmosphere when we have warmer air pushing in, that will lead to a little more cloud development and maybe even the chance for a brief fleeting shower. But as we have seen over the past 5-6 hours, really the clouds have been mainly to the south, with very few small cumulus clouds anywhere within a dozen miles of the island. Looking at satellite estimated rainfall, spotty showers well south. We're generally dry tonight. 80 degrees current temp, and the dew point and the humidity levels are down a bit, only around 58%. Wind from the east-northeast around 10 knots, plus or minus 2 knots. Water temp still holding at 81, and on the inside we have decent boating weather, 1 to 2 feet. Outside, 3 to 5 footers, also manageable, but be safe as always when you're out and about on the boat. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm, 75 degrees. We are not finding much in the way of cool air at night these days with the recent weather pattern that we've been up against. And it's not a bad weather pattern, but it is a warm one. High tide, the tide's coming in at 9:13. It goes back out 3:45 in the morning. It'll come back in at 9:32 Thursday morning, and then we'll have a nice mid-afternoon low tide if you want to head out there and look for sand dollars. As we look at the Thursday forecast, it's not Saturday yet, Thursday, spotty showers. They don't look too widespread. Sunshine will be mixed with clouds for most of the day, and it will become breezy in the afternoon, and we're off to the races, back up to 82, temperatures up in a significant way. So here we are, and we have that southeast wind, and we're really not going to find much cool air with this kind of weather pattern. There is what we might call the Bermuda Azores high off to the northeast of us, and that's helping to promote that wind from the south, keeping us warm these days. There's a little bit of a shift in the wind well to our north. That's a front. That'll get a little closer in a few more days, increasing the chance of some showers and some thunderstorms. Mainly showers, though, in the early part of the forecast locally. Up and down the east coast of North America and across the pond into London, you can see some June-like weather, a lot of 70s, some 80s into New York, into Atlanta, 88 degrees. London, spotty showers and 70. Heading down into the Caribbean, scattered showers and thunderstorms. It is that time of the year, 90 degrees in Jamaica. The heat's on. We're watching a very weak area of low pressure traverse the Yucatan Peninsula, and there's a very small chance that might become more of somewhat of a tropical threat into the Gulf Coast of the the southern United States into Texas. But the chance of that actually becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm is real slim. It's not going to impact us regardless. Scattered showers become more likely. Thunderstorms possible on Friday. Showers linger into Saturday, and then we turn a little cooler and a lot drier into Sunday and Monday. Back to you.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
This summer I was in Germany on holiday with my family, and on a whim one day my son and I joined a speed sliding competition, and as I came down the water slide I went straight down in the pool and whacked my left foot on the bottom of the pool, and I looked down and I didn't see a foot. I just saw the bones sticking out and I started to feel faint. I was ambulanced to a hospital where I stayed for 11 days and had surgery. I had snapped all the ligaments on both sides of my ankle. And in the middle of all this stress and pain, we thought, how are we going to deal with health insurance? How will we pay for this? And I got a response from Allison at BF&M, and she said, your admission and surgery will be covered at 100%. I didn't have to put it on a credit card and deal with the reimbursement later. It made such a big difference to us. And for me, the BF&M difference is stress-free insurance when I really needed it.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me. Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough. Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough. I'll be there on the double, just sing for me, oh baby. My love is alive, way down in my heart, although we are miles apart. Ain't no river wide enough, ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no.
Welcome back. Tin belly, peanut butter, tadpole, 2 scoops. Just some of the vivid names Bermudians give each other. Now, Bermudian author and photographer Ross McCall has gathered some of the best in a new book, complete with images of all the people who carry the unusual names. Hal Davis went to meet him, and Larry Simons, better known as Sucky.
They start calling him bookworm because he's always reading.
It's not the first book to look at Bermudian nicknames, but the mix of quality photographs and the stories of how people came by their names is probably unique. So how did the author and photographer Ross McCall come up with the idea? He says it's all down to his deceased uncle Dudley, who a few years ago saw an obituary of an old friend called Brickdust Robinson.
And I said, Brickdust? What kind of nickname is that? And he said, well, we were a young man working in the construction industry, and you know, you get sawdust and cement and sand all over you, and a brick had fallen and hit him in the head, and the dust that flew off him was like an explosion, and those that witnessed it just started calling him brick dust, and it stuck. And I just said, you know, it's funny how people get their nicknames.
Included in the book is Larry Simons, known as Sucky. It's actually a name first given to his grandfather for his habit of sucking down a beer or a rum. But it's now been passed from grandfather and father to sons and grandsons, so will it continue into even more generations?
Of course, because what happens is when they have children, I can call them Sucky. So it's a Bermuda tradition type of thing, and just by having a nickname, we still get the same respect as we have our normal name, but it puts a little smile and a little joke to it. It's like a flavor.
But would Saki have preferred another name?
No, I like to carry that Saki all the way through. It's something that like we inherit, so
keeps you linked to your past.
Links me to my past, and it's a great name that they call me Saki after my papa.
The book has already been a hit on social media, perhaps because for Raz, the book tells us something about Bermudan culture.
What I think is the real key to the book is the stories. The different events and things that have happened to create a nickname, and it's recorded. So even if you look at Larry, a lot of people don't know him by Larry, he has carried on a tradition, and now this book would let his children and his grandchildren and his great-grandchildren years and years and years down the road after I'm dead and gone, they know who I am, they know who he is.
So, if you want to know why someone is called Toast or Juju or Liquid or Rubber Duck, then this might be the book for you, providing a real insight into the island, its people, and quite often, their sense of humour. Howell Davis, Bermuda Broadcasting News.
And Ross McCall will be signing copies of his book Nicknames at Brown & Co. between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. tomorrow. Still to come, some exciting news about our World Cup coverage, and Earl Basin will have all the latest sports news. That's in just a few minutes.
You can count on us.
Value pack, fresh Purdue chicken thighs, $1.99 per pound. Juicy red, ripe, seedless watermelons, $15.99 each. Only $1.70 for an 18-ounce bottle of select varieties of open pit barbecue sauce. Save $1.01 on Kraft mayonnaise, $5.79 for a 30-ounce jar. Selected varieties of Purex laundry detergent, $4.99 for a 50-ounce bottle. Visit our website at www.marketplace.bm for more super specials.
You can count on us.
Magic System, Red One, Chonky.
It's a feast of football, and you can start tucking in tomorrow with Bermuda Broadcasting. The opening ceremony of the World Cup starts at 11:30, and at noon, hosts Russia kick off the first game against Saudi Arabia. Enjoy the action live on ZFB Channel 7, plus a rebroadcast tomorrow at 8 p.m. You can also enjoy our broadcast of the games on Cablevision and WOW. Over the next month, we'll show all 64 games live and also run live radio commentary for some of the matches on Inspire 105. All made possible, of course, by our sponsors Colonial Group International, Butterfield, Lindo's Group of Companies, and Bermuda Motors. With all the other sports news, here's today's Sports Report with Earl Basin.
Vote for the 2026 FIFA World Cup has concluded. This as the 68th gathering of the FIFA Congress has taken place in Moscow. FIFA President Gianni Infantino made the announcement.
The member associations of Canada, Mexico and USA have been selected by the FIFA Congress to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Thank you.
The 2018 Football for Friendship program started in Russia with two young Bermudians along for the ride. Amir Dill and Majesty Wilson left the country recently with two chaperones. One included the BFA second vice president, Princeton Williams, and Rakita Warner, a BFA Women's Live Your Goals coach, to attend this annual program in the lead up to the 2018 FIFA World Cup. The pair, Dill and Wilson, shared their experiences thus far.
Hello, Bermuda. This is Majesty Wilson reporting all the way from Moscow, Russia. I am the young ambassador of Bermuda, acting as a journalist for the Gazprom Football for Friendship organization. I was able to come into this once-in-a-lifetime experience based on strict guidelines and was the lucky participant chosen. The opening ceremony took up half of the first day of the F4F camp. During this 3-day camp, we did team building and training. My highlight so far was meeting my new friends Island Jaunty from New Zealand and Daniel from Ireland.
Good afternoon, Bermuda. This is Amir Deal reporting from Moscow, Russia. I just want to let you know this is a wonderful experience for me to help develop my career as a young footballer. I have been selected by BFA to go to Russia and participate in Football for Friendship program. To get selected, I had to write an essay on why I wanted to compete. One of my main highlights was the opening ceremony. I was the captain of the Magellanic Penguins, and unfortunately we were eliminated from the tournament, losing 2 and winning 1, but we tried our best and had fun. I met people from all over the world, especially New Zealand and Ireland. This has been a very rewarding experience, one that will remain with me for the rest of my life.
Sussex Dowray Rollins has been selected in a 12-man ECB select team for the 50-over match against India's A, which will take place at the Admiral Headley Stadium on Sunday. Rahul Dravid's India A tourists will face the ECB 11 in the first match of their England tour. The 12-man squad was selected from 11 of the 18 first-class counties, excluding the 6 still involved in the Royal London One Day Cup, and Warwickshire, who play West Indies A in the opening match of their tour at Edgbaston on Sunday. The squad also includes 2 Sussex teammates of Rollins who have made impressive starts in the first third of the county season. 23-year-old batsman Harry Finch and 24-year-old Oliver Robinson. Meanwhile, Aboriginal Cricket Club out of Australia continue their 2018 tour of England, and they took on Kamal Lavrock and his Nottinghamshire Cricket Club teammates in a 2020 match yesterday. The Aboriginal 11 would score 182 for 6 in their allotted 20 overs, with captain Daniel Christian the top scorer with 61 off of 21 balls. He hammered 3 fours and 6 sixes in his 39-minute stay at the wicket. Lavrock finished with bowling figures of 3 overs, 1 for 12. In reply, Nottinghamshire batting at the number 9 spot was out for 2 after 3 balls. Dante Lavrock scored twice as J.K. Navratrens defeated Vaporus 4-0. Viktor Plotonikov gave J.K. Navratrens the lead in the 8th minute. Lavrock would double the lead 12 minutes later. J.K. Navratrens would take that 2-goal lead to the break. Lavrock would find the back of the net for a second time in the match in the 73rd minute, and then R.C. Kovalchuk would close out the scoring in the 79th minute for the 4-0 win. The Bermuda Equestrian Federation announced their championship winners, determined by points accumulated during the 2017-18 show season. In addition to winning the Richfield Trophy, Kayla Barjett was awarded the DaCosta Construction Limited Trophy as the junior competitor achieving the most points overall regardless of the mount. Securing the Inwood Trophy for the adult competitor achieving the most overall points regardless of the mount was Dale Rochester. Junior Christian Truin, riding Roseland, was awarded the Raymond White Memorial Trophy as the overall horse rider combination achieving the most points. Abby Barjett was awarded the 2017-18 Coach Award, whilst the Stable Award was presented to the newly formed Breakaway Stables. Bettina Truin was presented the President's Award in recognition of her valuable contribution to Bermuda equestrian sport throughout the years. Following the first race of the Bermuda Triathlon Association 2018 season, we can now bring you the Court Series standings. Following their Olympic distance win, Philip Mace and Karen Smith are the male and female leaders with 200 points each. In the men's division, Mace leads Sergei Olonenko by 20 points, with Jeff Smith in 3rd place with 160 points. Alan Potts hosts on the 4th place spot with 140 points, and Alex Cronenberg is 5th with 130 points. On the ladies' side, Smith leads Maddie Durkin, who is in 2nd with 180 points. Alison Paddy is in 3rd with 160 points, with Sharon Hammond 4th with 140 points. Viv Lockhead rounds out the top 5 with 130 points. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
And just before we go, a heads up for motorists. Harbor Road will be reduced to 1 lane next week while construction work is carried out. It starts on Tuesday, the day after the Heroes' Day holiday, and the 1 lane restriction will be in force until July 10th. The government advises motorists to plan ahead and take alternative routes. Traffic heading along Harbor Road in a westerly direction from Hamilton will be detoured towards Lovers Lane, while traffic coming from the West End into Hamilton will be detoured towards Chapel Road. And that's all from us for the moment. I'm Jasmine Patterson. Thanks for joining us here on Bermuda tonight. We hope to see you again tomorrow at the same time. Have a great evening.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.